You know what? The older I get, the more I realize a very simple truth that I didn't understand when I was younger. Changing your life is not a matter of 10 years or a whole decade. Sometimes, it only takes 5 months if you live truly differently in every single day of those 5 months. I have met hundreds, perhaps thousands of people in my talks and courses, and most of them carry the same concern in their hearts. I've lived more than half my life. Is it still possible for me to change? And I always smile, because I know as long as they dare to ask that question, the flame within them is not yet extinguished. Many people say success takes time. True, but not time that stretches indefinitely, but time that you genuinely live the right way. Some people live 5 years that are no different from reliving that 1 year 5 times, but others only need 5 months and they are completely transformed. I want to tell you the story of an old friend. He worked at the same company for 15 years. Every year, he would say, "Next year, I'll change careers. I want to try something new." But the next year was exactly like the year before. Then one day, he came to me, his eyes tired, and said, "I think I'm too late." I only asked him one question. If you continue to live as you are now for another 10 years, will you be happy? He was silent for a long time. Then he shook his head. I said, "That's good, because only when you feel you can't endure it anymore, that's when you truly begin." And he did begin. He spent the next 5 months being honest with himself, learning a new skill, acting consistently every day, and enduring the pressure he had always avoided before. Those 5 months changed the rest of his life. Now he is doing the job he once only dared to dream of. I tell you this to say, you don't need years to create a new life. You only need 5 months of honesty, learning, action, persistence, and discipline. The first month, you need to relearn the hardest thing. Honesty with yourself. I have met many people who are very smart, very kind, but they live in the beautiful lies they tell themselves. I am trying. I will start when I have time. I'm waiting for the right moment. There is no right moment. There is only the moment you stop lying to yourself. Because only when you are willing to look straight into the mirror and admit, "I am the reason my life hasn't changed," that is the first day of the true journey. After you are honest, the next step is to relearn how to learn. Perhaps it's been a long time since you were excited to learn anything new. But you know what? When you stop learning, you're not standing still. You are falling behind. The world changes every day. And I'm not talking about technology or trends, but mindset, way of life, way of working. I have a student. She is 58 years old. On the first day of class, she said, "I'm not good with computers. I'm too old." I told her, no one is too old to learn. The only thing that is old is a mind that stops being curious. And you know what? 6 months later, she started an online business and is now helping women her age learn how to use technology. The world rewards those who remain curious. Learning is not just about acquiring knowledge, but about expanding your perspective. Every skill you learn is a new brick building. Your path to freedom. But learning alone is not enough. You must act, and this is where 90% of people stop. Because real action is not comfortable. It requires you to do uncomfortable things every day. I once asked someone, "Why haven't you started your project yet?" He replied, "I'm waiting until I'm ready." I smiled and said, "Then you will wait your whole life." No one is truly ready. The person who dares to start while still afraid is the one who moves forward. I still remember the first time I had to speak in front of a crowd. My heart pounded like a drum. My hands shook. My voice faltered. But I still stood there speaking awkwardly, imperfectly. And you know what? No one laughed at me. They applauded. They saw the truth. A person daring to do it even when not yet good. And that was the beginning of all the success that followed. The third month, you will encounter discouragement and doubt. This is the stage where most people give up. They think, "I've been working so hard but still see no results." But my friend, bamboo grows underground for many years before it bursts out of the surface. Everything you are doing, reading, learning, practicing, trying, is laying the roots for a stronger version of yourself. When you want to give up, remember, discipline is your most loyal friend when motivation leaves. You don't have to do something grand every day. Just one small action repeated long enough. When you maintain discipline for 21 days, your brain starts believing, "This is who I am." And that is when change becomes instinct. The fourth month, pressure appears. You will find life challenging, you making everything feel heavier. But do not be afraid. Pressure doesn't kill you. It forges you into steel. like diamonds which are only created in the fire. Hold on to the reason you started and keep going, because when you get through this stage, you will realize you are already stronger than you were last month. And then the 5th month comes, the month of transformation. You look back and realize the things that once scared you now excite you. What was once difficult now feels natural. And more importantly, you begin to find peace within yourself. Success is not money or fame. Success is when you look in the mirror and say, I did not quit. I kept my promise to myself. Now I want you to imagine one thing. 5 months from today, you wake up no longer feeling heavy or lost. You are doing the work you love. You have energy, confidence, and know where you are going. Does it sound far-fetched? But you can start today with just one small decision. Stop procrastinating and start acting. Remember this, 5 months of discipline can change 5 years of your life, not because the time is magical, but because you have become a different person in the process. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for opportunity. Don't wait for anyone to save you. You are the only person who can rewrite your own story. And I believe it is not too late. Whether you are 40, 50, or 60, life is still waiting for your next step. If you are listening to me today and there is a small spark in your heart somewhere, grab it. Let the next 5 months be the journey you look back on and say, that was when I truly started living. Because sometimes, a whole new life only begins after you decide not to give up again. When you start walking the journey of change, the first thing you must accept is no one is coming to save you. There is no savior, no magic, no promise strong enough to pull you out of your comfort zone. You are the only person who can save yourself. I've seen many people spend their lives searching for motivation. They watch videos, read books, listen to speakers, and feel inspired for a few hours. But then, the next day, they return to their old selves. Because motivation is like a gust of wind, it blows past quickly. Discipline, that is the fire. It's small, but if you tend to it every day, it will keep you warm on the coldest days. Have you ever wondered, why do I keep starting and then stopping? I used to be like that. I used to start many things, exercising, writing a book, learning a new skill, and then quit halfway. Until I understood I didn't lack ability, I just wasn't willing to do the work, even when I didn't feel like it. It sounds simple, but most people live their whole lives without learning this. Success does not come from doing amazing things when you are inspired. Success comes from doing the necessary things even when you feel no joy at all. An old friend of mine, Tom, once said he would start again when things get better. I looked at him and said, Tom, there will never be a better time. There is only now. And if you do nothing with it, things will never change. 3 months later, he called back saying he started running every morning. I asked, how do you feel? He laughed. At first it hurt, but now I feel I am alive again. Tom's story makes me believe one thing. Change does not begin with results. It begins with the desire to truly live. And when you feel that desire, you won't need anyone to push you anymore. Someone once asked me, why am I still afraid of failure even though I'm older? I said, because you have let fear control you for too long, so it has become a habit. You cannot eliminate fear, but you can train it. I want you to try to imagine. You are standing on the edge of a lake. The water is freezing cold. You know you should swim, but you keep standing there. You shiver, you hesitate, and then when you decide to jump in, you realize the water is cold, but not as terrifying as you thought. The next time you jump in faster, and gradually the fear disappears. Life is the same. Every action you take, no matter how small, is a step that weakens fear. You don't need courage forever, just courage for the first few seconds. One thing I learned after 60 years of life: happy people are not those with few difficulties, but those who have learned to live side by side with difficulties. I remember once a 55-year-old woman told me in class, I don't feel the joy I used to. Everything is repetitive. I asked her, what used to make you happy? She said, I love to paint, but now I don't have the time. I said, it's not that you don't have time, it's that you no longer allow yourself to have time. 2 weeks later, she sent me a picture of a painting. She wrote, I painted again after 20 years and I cried. Those were the tears of a person rediscovering herself. We lose ourselves not because we lose time, but because we lose connection with what makes us feel alive. Don't let life be just a list of things to do. Let it also include moments where you truly get to be yourself. Another thing I clearly see, and I want you to remember this, is change never comes in silence. It always comes with resistance. When you start exercising, you will feel muscle pain. When you start learning, you will feel mentally tired. When you start living authentically, you will make some people around you unhappy. That is a good sign, because it means you are growing. I once said in a seminar, if your life is too smooth, you might be standing still. All progress comes with inconvenience. You cannot want change and comfort at the same time. One of the two must be sacrificed. Now I want to talk about habits, the things that can lift you up or drag you down. Habits are like an undercurrent, silent but powerful. If you don't actively control it, it will sweep you away. I have a habit of journaling every morning just for 5 minutes. I write about what I am grateful for, what I will do today, and who I want to become. You know what, those 5 minutes change the way I look at the world. Because when you start your day with gratitude, you complain less. When you set small goals, you feel a sense of control. And when you write down who you want to become, you remind your brain, I am still on the path. You don't need to do much. Just one right habit every day. Like a drop of water, little by little, carving into stone. I also want to talk about pressure, something all of us experience. Pressure can break you, or it can build you. It all depends on how you look at it. When I was young, I hated pressure. I thought it made me tired, exhausted. But after many years, I realized pressure does not come to punish me, but to prepare me. It's like when you lift weights. Each lift is a moment when the muscle is slightly torn. But that very tear helps the body become stronger. Your soul is the same. Every time you overcome a fear, endure a challenge, you are expanding your own limits. I know sometimes you will feel lonely, because when you walk a new path, not everyone understands you. Some people might laugh, some people might doubt. But remember, no one needs to understand your dream except you. If you wait for applause, you will never start. If you need others to believe in you, you must first believe in yourself. True change begins when you stop seeking external validation and start living by internal standards. I once read a study that said after the age of 40, people often underestimate their capacity for change by more than 60%. That is, we think we are done. But in reality, the brain still has the ability to restructure, called neuroplasticity, up until age 70 or beyond. In other words, you can learn change and adapt at any age. Science has proven what our hearts have known all along. It is never too late to start living differently. I want you to try one small thing after watching this video. Just one thing. Write down this sentence. For the next 5 months, I choose to be the person who does not quit. Then stick it somewhere you can easily see it every day. Read it every morning. No need for grand pronouncements, no need for complicated plans. Just honesty, learning, action, persistence, discipline. If you keep those 5 things, the rest of your life will automatically change. I don't say this as a perfect person. I have stumbled, been lost, and asked myself, do I still have enough time? But then I realized, time is not what takes away your opportunities. It only takes away your procrastination. Life is a journey of endless change. And no matter where you are, no matter how old you are, it's still timely to start a new chapter. Starting over is not failure. Starting over is the courage of someone who has truly understood the value of every single moment. If you are listening to me today, I want you to know you still have a chance. You can still love yourself again, believe in life again, and create meaning for every day. Just 5 more months, if you dare to live authentically, you will no longer be the person you are today. You will be the version you once dreamed of becoming. Don't let your life be filled with what-ifs. Let it be proof that even at this age, I can still change. Because in the end, no one remembers how many times you failed. They only remember that you did not give up. You know what, there is one thing I have learned. After more than half a lifetime, life never waits for anyone. It doesn't care if you're tired, busy, or afraid. Time simply flows gently yet firmly, like waves crashing endlessly on the shore. The real question is not, can I change? But, do I dare to change right now? Because when you say tomorrow, you are actually saying never. Tomorrow does not come for you to start. Tomorrow only comes for you to regret. I once met a man named George. He approached me after a talk. George was 67, his hair white, his hands calloused from a lifetime of work. He said, I've lived almost all my life just to be safe, just to avoid loss. Now I realize I've lost myself. I paused for a moment, then said, George, you still have time. Because all it takes is one day, one decision, for you to rewrite the final part of your life's book. A month later, George called back. He shared that he started learning the guitar, something he had dreamed of when he was 20 but never dared to do. He said, his voice trembling slightly, "I don't play well, but every time I play, I feel young again." I still remember that quote. Because you see, when people start living authentically, time seems to reverse. Energy returns, eyes light up, and life, though simple, regains its flavor. Perhaps today you are sitting watching this video feeling a subtle stirring inside. Maybe it's a small voice whispering, maybe it's time for me to live differently. If you hear that voice, don't ignore it. That is the call of life itself, not the call of success, but the call of true living. Because you know, existing and living are two very different things. Existing is when you only do what needs to be done to get through the day. Living is when you feel every breath, every morning, every moment like a gift, and that gift is waiting for you to unwrap it. I once had a student, Linda, 52 years old. She came to me with tired eyes, saying she felt invisible. No more passion, no more joy, just a repetitive cycle of days. I asked her, if you weren't afraid of anything, what would you want to do most? She was silent for a moment, then whispered, I want to teach poor children how to paint. A month later, I saw a photo she posted. Linda stood in a small room surrounded by children smiling brightly, their hands stained with paint. She wrote the caption, "Today I started again." I read it and smiled, because truly change doesn't have to be grand. It just needs to be authentic. One small action, one first step can revive an entire soul. I want you to pause for a moment, close your eyes, and imagine, a year from now, if you start today, where will you be? Not in which city or which job, but in what state of mind? Do you see yourself more peaceful, more confident, lighter? Can you look back and say, I lived, truly lived? Now imagine the opposite. A year passes and you are still the same, still hesitating, still afraid, still thinking, I can do it tomorrow. How will you feel? Perhaps a little regret, a little bitterness. Because deep down you know you could have, but you didn't. And that, my friend, is the greatest pain in life. I don't want you to live with what ifs. I want you to live with, I did it, even though I was afraid. Because courage is not the absence of fear, but walking forward even while trembling. Sometimes just daring to take one small step, life will change direction. You don't need to know the entire path. Just the first step and the second step will appear. Life always opens the way only for those who are walking, never for those who are just standing and watching. And I want you to understand this. You are not alone. Whether you are 40, 50, or 60 years old, there are still millions of people like you finding themselves again. They were also afraid, they also fell, they were also lost. But then they got up and started over. If they can do it, you can too. I say this not to comfort you, but because I have seen it with my own eyes. I have seen the 70-year-old man relearn the guitar. I have seen the 58-year-old woman start a business from her small kitchen. I have seen the person who lost everything still smile and say, I will try one more time. Those people taught me that age does not limit ability, only your belief does. If today you feel you are too late, remember, no one is truly late. Only those who never start. Life does not reward those who play it safe. It only opens the door for those who dare to step into the unknown. And sometimes that unknown is exactly what you need to find yourself again. I want to leave you with a question I hope you will carry even after this video ends. If there were no fear holding you back, what would you do differently today? Write down the answer, because right there in the answer, you will find your path. Before you leave, I want to say this sincerely. If you feel this video has touched a corner of your heart, please leave a comment. Share with me, what is holding you back and what do you want to start again today? I truly read every comment, because every story, every experience is proof that we, the people seeking to live authentically, are still here together. And if you want to continue this journey, want to hear more shares like this every week, please hit subscribe, not just to follow the channel, but to remind yourself that I am still on the path to living a better life, because sometimes just a small reminder, a video, a quote, is enough to change an entire direction in life. Life does not reward safety. It rewards the courage to be yourself. Therefore, don't be afraid to change. Don't be afraid to start over. Be afraid of only one thing, that you have lived your whole life without ever truly living. If you still have breath, if your heart can still feel, then there is still time. Live. Try. Take the step. And then you will see. Life has never been this real.